Good evening, Unique Couples community. How's everybody doing today? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are tuning in, that are watching. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that will be watching the replay. My name is Vito Patrick. I'm one half of Vito and Linda Patrick, founders of Unique Couples. And we want to welcome you to another Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. If you don't know, we are here in Freeport, Grand Bahama, in the Bahamas, and we're going to be here tonight with special guests. We have William Manime and we have Paul Scavella. We have special guests in the house, and they'll be joining me very shortly. And tonight, we're going to be talking about biggest mistakes fathers make. Biggest mistakes fathers make. They will be joining me shortly as we dive into our topic for this evening. Just before we get started, Will and Jada Smith are and have always been a Hollywood couple to follow in spite of recent public hiccups. Willard Carroll Smith Jr. is an American actor, rapper, and film producer. Smith has been nominated for 5 Golden Globe Awards and 2 Academy Awards, and has won 4 Grammy Awards during the late 1980s. He has achieved modest fame as a rapper under the name The Fresh Prince. Will and Jada Smith have 2 children together. Their son Jaden decided to not only emancipate himself from his parents, he also has taken on women's fashion. As fathers, we have so much to do. Be firm with, be loving, and understanding. Today, join us in the discussion, the biggest mistakes fathers make, with our special guests. Like I said earlier, we have special guests in the house, William Manime and Paul Scavella. Just before we get into it, I just want to remind those of you who may be watching us for the first time, you want to go ahead and subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel as yet, you want to go ahead, subscribe. You want to click the notification bell, and you want to make sure you click all so you can be notified every time Unique Couples go live. So you want to make sure you subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. So William, Pastor Paul, how are you guys doing this evening?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Doing wonderfully well.
Excellent. All right. Happy Father's Day to both of you.
Thank you. You too. Happy Father's Day.
Likewise.
All right. So we're going to have a great time here this evening. And this evening, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about biggest mistakes fathers make. Biggest mistakes fathers make. So we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to get started. And Will, let's start off with you.
Okay, I'm here. I'm listening.
The first question is, tell our viewing audience a little about you, who you are, what you do, including how long you've been married and how many children you have.
Well, my name is William Manime, and I'm a French speaker living from Africa, living in America in Dallas, Texas. I've been married to my wife, Nikia Manime, for the past 7 years now, and combined we have 4 children. 2 from Nikia's previous marriage, 1 that I have before I met Nikia, and we have a little one who's 19 months since we've been married. And I do ministry with my wife. Actually, we more focus on strengthening couples, marriages, but also teaching singles how to live a life of success and happiness within marriage once they decide to.
Awesome. Pastor Paul, you can introduce yourself. Let us know about. Yes, tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Good to be here with you and William. Paul Scavella, pastor of 40 years now. Started in gospel ministry in 1979. So you do the math.
Ministry.
And I'm married to Joan Marie Davis Scavella. And we've been married now for 32 plus years. And God has blessed us with 3 adult children. Paul the second, and Paula Joe, my blossoming rose in the middle, and Paul. We give God thanks for them, and how God has blessed us in being able to parent these 3 children to this point.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. So to get started, Pastor Paul, can you tell us who is a father? Who is a father?
From a biological point of view, we consider one a father who has had the privilege of intimacy with his wife, hopefully, or a female, and a child is given birth to. And but beyond that, from a spiritual perspective, a father is more than just someone who has given or played a part in bringing forth another human being. So it moves beyond just the physical to being emotionally, socially, and all of the other aspects of life involved in the life of a child. I like to think of a father more so as a dad than just a father. And so, and even beyond that, it could extend to somebody who might not have even been involved physically in that process, but who has taken on the role of leadership in the life of a child, and supporting that child and helping to develop that child through adoption or just through community. So all of these aspects and elements are important in helping to define who a father is, especially in today's setting and age.
All right, thank you. Will, let us know who is a father.
To me, a father is simply a man who has a mandate to help grow leadership within a child. And like Pastor Paul said, that can be somebody who never had a physical child, but just had a mandate to help grow another human being to become this leader in the society. From a spiritual standpoint, a father is anointed by God. Is anointed to disciple a child, and by teaching him the ways of the Lord, just like we can read in the book of Genesis 18, verse 19, where God says he made his covenant with Abraham because he knew that Abraham will command or teach his way to his family and his children.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Who is a father? Well said. And our next question kind of comes off from the previous one. what makes a great father? And I know both of you already touched on some key points, but if you can elaborate some more, what makes a great father? Go ahead, Bill.
But well, yeah, like I just said, and I'm gonna just take my example. I love my father, but I won't say my father was a great one because we never we never taken the time to see it, to discuss, to talk, or for him to impart wisdom, knowledge, understanding in me. And it took me years to understand what a father is. And it's and when I married Nikia, I was not prepared to be a father, really. Even though I was already a dad because I had a daughter, but I was not a father because it takes more than just the title of father to really be a father. And I met my mentor, John Crosby, who I consider a father figure, who's actually not only my mentor but also my spiritual father. And he's the one who really took the time to walk me through the process, to make me understand um, the highs and lows of being a father, teach me how to look at my child and have compassion, before they even done anything wrong. So he kind of display in front of me the blueprint of fatherhood. So that's how I understood what a father is, what makes a great father stand, in his family.
If I may
Okay, Pastor.
join in, um, when we look at examples of fatherhood in the Bible, I think the first place we begin is looking at our Heavenly Father.
Mhm.
We know that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, first of all, had a, a concept and a knowledge of what their role and functions were as the Godhead. And many times, as William stated, men become biological fathers without understanding what is required of them, what are the elements and the dimensions of fatherhood. One of the dimensions that we see in God, the Father, is that He is faithful.
Yeah.
He's a faithful God. He is a providing God. He's a protecting God. And these are some of the elements that help to make fathers who we ought to be. And our greatest example of this is our Heavenly Father. Um, and we ought to seek to understand His ways as men, to see how He provided for Israel and for His disciples and everybody, in giving them guidance and directorship, sourcing for them their needs, to meet those needs, sourcing for them the elements to meet the needs of His children, and just ever present. And so these are some of the things that help to make fathers, the difference between just good and great, and even not being labeled as deadbeat as well. And so we have good examples, and we have the best example, and where we are falling short, we just need to look to God and say, okay, Father, let me see what are the things that you do, and help me to embrace those elements and dimensions of you as a godly father towards each and every one of us. Of course, we fall short and we make mistakes, but when we do so, we can always go back to him because he's faithful and he's always there in helping us.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you. So there you have it. Excellent answers on who is a father, what makes a great father. And, you know, we have a lot of good fathers out there, but what happens when a mistake is made? What happens to those fathers? For those that are viewing, you want to make sure, let us know that you're watching. You want to go ahead and type in hashtag live squad. For those who are watching the replay, you want to type in hashtag replay. So our next question, share with us what you believe are the biggest mistakes fathers make and what can they do about the mistakes. Share with us what you believe are the biggest mistakes fathers make and what can they do about the mistakes. Go ahead, Pastor Boyd.
Okay. I'm sure, you know, when I saw that question, I said to myself, wow. And I started to think about some of the mistakes that I have made as a father and that fathers make in general from my counseling and coaching practice. And I stopped short and started I stopped writing because I was getting too many. But let me share some, and then we'll some of the biggest ones. I think one of the biggest mistakes that is made by fathers is to have children, and we're not fully prepared to have them. All right. It all happens in the emotion and the ecstasy of physical lust, and then we wake up and say, "Oh my goodness, I have to be dealing with a child." And some people don't even want to do that. They get angry because they're not prepared. All right, and so, but the reality is that even though that happens, um, we can humble ourselves and ask for help. We can humble ourselves and ask for help and get prepared. Sometimes we need to take a crash course. And I often say to people, you know, we go to school for
I think Pastor went out just now. Go ahead, Will.
having children.
Okay, if I can just jump right there real quick. Okay, we can really mention a lot of mistakes, big mistakes. I mean, I don't know if we can say biggest mistakes, but I would call them mistakes that we do, and there are a lot of them. But one of the mistakes that really come to my spirit is the mistake of looking at your child and said, "Oh, that's just a child," so we can bypass whatever they are doing right now. It's just, oh, it's just a little baby. That's just a baby, you know. And it's been probably 3 4 months now that I've been asking not only my wife but some other parents what age is suitable for the child to be taught, at what age. And most of the answers that I got were before the child was conceived, because a child is a spirit just like us, and a spirit is not a baby spirit, is a grown spirit, because we know spirit don't age. Okay, so the first mistake we do is to look at that spirit and and put that spirit at the same level with the physical body. And when the child start to do things that we know, um, these things a child do right now, it's not good because it can lead to sin. That can be considered sin. But because we look at the child and we say, "Oh, that's a baby," so it's not a big deal. What we forget is habit. Habits is built on small things that we do on a daily basis. When we repeat an action, it becomes a second nature. That's to me one of the biggest mistake that we do. And I will just mention example with our 16-year-old Angel. She was 10 years old when I married Nikki, and that's Nikia's daughter from the previous marriage. And I love that girl to death. We have a great relationship, but that great relationship came because I had to backtrack what I was doing in the beginning. I thought that, I know what I was doing in the beginning was out of love, was well intentioned, but how I was doing it was based on how I view her. I was looking at Angel, and in my mind, she was not going to do the right thing unless I supervise, unless I micromanage, unless, and these are the things, really the things that I don't even like myself as an employee. Okay, but I thought, okay, I'm the father. I want to protect my child. So what I was doing every time she was doing something, if she makes a mistake, instead of correcting the mistake by teaching, I was yelling. And I was yelling because I look at it and I'm like, you a child, you can do this, you should do this, you should listen, you should, and it was just not appropriate, because what happened is she started to resent my voice, and I start to lose that influence and right authority over her, until my wife called me and said, "William, look, hey, what you are saying is right. However, your delivery is wrong." And I call Angel. I say, let's go on a date. I really need you to look at me, honestly, and tell me what I do wrong and how we can solve it. She said, "I don't mind what you're saying. It's just how you come at me. It's like there's nothing good I can do. When you say something, you make me feel little. You make me feel like nothing." And I had to change that. I had to correct that. And today I see, like, we have set rules, and she obeys. She respect those rules, whether I'm here or not. And if she's behind a task, she will make sure she texts me, so she communicate with me. "Hey, sir, I know I have to do this, but right now I have a class," because she did, with the pandemic, she go to school from home. She would tell me, "Hey, I have this and that, but don't worry, I will take care of that." But it took me as the father to understand that I was doing the wrong thing. That was a mistake, to belittle Angel by looking at her as a child, where she is a grown spirit that needs to be dealt with or treated with respect.
All right. Thank you both. So Will, you're saying that your approach in terms of how you was talking to her, that was a mistake, and you was able to correct it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Pastor Paul, you mentioned the fact that one of the biggest mistakes that fathers make is that they are not prepared to have a child. At the beginning, they get caught up, they are intimate with their partner, and it probably isn't planned. when they have a child, because when a child comes into play, there are a lot of responsibilities, and that's a mistake as well. And they are two excellent points that both of you made. And I just want to let the folks know that are watching us here at Unique Couples. Linda and I, we say that we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. And being a father, you have a family. And when you have those kids, you have to make time for them. At the same time, you also have to have time for your wife as well. So, yes, that mistake probably was made where you didn't plan on having a child, but that child is here. So, you need to find a way in terms of how you can be responsible enough and be prepared to take care of your child. You know, that's important as a father. That's your responsibility now. That is something that you have to do. Also, here at Unique Couples, we have our Unique Couples Marriage Club. And in the Unique Couples Marriage Club, we will be teaching you ways how you can improve your marriage, teaching you how you will be able to learn your spouse. You know, we say that you will be getting a spouseology degree. So that's very important. You want to look in the description and click on the link for the Unique Couples Marriage Club, and you will find out more information on the Marriage Club. Also, we have the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook private group. It's a group exclusively for married couples. You want to be a part of that group. That's very important. You get a lot of information in that group, because it was said earlier, we go on our jobs every day and we put in the work. In marriage, you also have to put that work in as well. So, as a father, you will have a lot of responsibilities. Things come up. So, you have to put this work in now, where you have to do your responsibilities as a father, and at the same time, you are still married to your wife. So, excellent points by both of you. Pastor Paul, look like you want to add a bit more, or you're good. William?
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right, Pastor Paul, you there? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Name one mistake you made as a father. What was the impact on your child? Did you correct your mistake? How did you right the wrong?
hmm. But I mean, I think I just mentioned that earlier. It was my approach with Angel, uh, where I remember one day I called
Are
her
you able
because
to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. One of the things
I think he is, yeah, we're not hearing him. Go ahead, Will.
yeah. So like I said, I mentioned earlier, my relationship with my daughter Angel. I remember one day I called Angel. I woke her up because I wanted to surprise her. Because I believe in rewarding a good deed, a good action. And my daughter made sure the kitchen was clean. I was supposed to clean the bathroom, um, and I called my wife. Said, "Can you just pray everything in the bathroom? When I come there, I'm gonna clean it." And Andrea just did it. She cleaned it up perfectly. So that was a good time for me, you know. And the next day, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna reward her. I would just want to show her my appreciation for what she's doing or for what she has done. And I went and called her. And the way she woke up, she was crying. She was crying, not because I was violent, not because I said something wrong, but because of the fear that I put in her, in the way I always come to her. You know, um, every time she would do something good, I never say anything. But when she would do something wrong, now I would try to correct it, and which is really not fair. you know. So because I create that in the spirit, and he already warned me, William, that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to take her, because she will feel like all men treat the women that way. So I just went out and I knock out a door, and she said yes. I open. I say, "Hey, Angel, follow me," without explanation, nothing at all. So she come outside. This is how I always called her when I want to reprove or undiscipline her. And that's the only thing. Like, she in her mind, what have I done wrong this time? So when she comes out, she's shivering, she's crying. We all surprised. I look at her like, what is this for? She was like, what have I done wrong this time, Mr. William? I said, you did nothing wrong. She is crying, you know. And I felt bad in my spirit. I said, baby, come here, come here. She came and I just hugged her. I said, I love you. Know that my intention towards you are pure. I love you. And I don't mean to hurt your feelings or whatever. I said, I called you because I just wanted to surprise you. I wanted to take you somewhere. Because she likes what's it call it? Starbucks. And
Okay.
for months, she's been asking for Starbucks. And I was like, okay, she did all this. She didn't have to clean the bathroom. I wanted to do it, but she did. So let me just, reward her. But because of the previous actions, and this time I was trying to do right, but she just remember, memory just took her back, few years ago, where that's how Mr. William start off his argument with you. And I had to correct that real quick, where today it's more, even though she's 16-year-old, but I look at her as a grown woman spirit. So when we talk, we have conversation, we have communication. If I'm wrong, she has license to tell me, sir, you are wrong, with all due respect. Because I believe that whatever you give to people, that's what they're going to give back to you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, William. I think we had lost Pastor Paul there, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue. What advice would you give to fathers who find themselves constantly making huge mistakes?
Be humble to recognize. Pastor Paul is right. I think it's clear right now. If you can go back to the previous
You can
question.
hear it, Pastor Paul?
Yes, I am. I switched devices, so let's see if this works better.
All right. All right. So we had just move on. We were saying, what advice would you give to fathers who find themselves constantly making huge mistakes?
Well, first of all, the biggest room, my grandfather would always say, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Um, Anytime we stop growing, then we're actually dead,
Mhm.
right? And so, um, if you find yourself making mistakes, and all of us do, we learn from our mistakes. I heard William talking about that earlier. and he had somebody who helped him to identify the mistake and say, listen, let's see how we can change this. We have to be humble enough and willing enough to recognize that because we're head don't always mean boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Head means that you have the capacity to see and to understand and to absorb what is necessary to make that family and that child whole. All right. So if I'm doing something that is wrong, then I need to change my strategies. I need to change my approach. I need to change my thinking, maybe, because everything begins up here, and then seek help. Um, there's a writer, I can't remember his name now, but one of my books that I read in my coaching program, and he made the statement. He says, "The eye cannot see itself." All right. And so we always need somebody to bounce things off on and to talk about it, conversation, and then to determine to change our strategies. If we see that something isn't working over here, then who else has it working, and how can I learn from them and apply some new strategies to help to be a better father to my children. And it's important for us to understand that not every strategy works with every child, because children are different, and one cap doesn't always fit all. All right.
Yep, absolutely.
So like Peter advised husbands to dwell with their wives with understanding, the same principle is applicable for us to dwell with our children, spend time with them, and see what makes them tick. What can we do differently that will help to extract the best out of them and to blossom them into what God has designed them to be, growing in His garden of life.
All right, Bill. What advice would you give to fathers who find themselves constantly making huge mistakes?
First advice would be find you an accountability friend. Okay. Mine, I have probably 4 or 5 of them who have license to always tell me things whenever I'm right or wrong. Just come and tell me, because sometimes you do something you don't really pay attention. So the first steps to any father out there is to have an accountability friend or partner. That's one. Two is to have in within itself room to grow, room to improve. And how do you get to that level? Get you a mentor. Okay. I was humble enough to know that in order for me to succeed is to get under the leadership and the teaching of those who already been on that field before me. Okay, so get you a mentor who's going to help you grow into a leader, because most of the time the leader that I am today was the boss before. Just like Pastor Paul just said, everything starts with a mindset. And
Mhm.
because we the head, like I used to tell my wife and my kids in the house, I'm the man. And to my wife, I'm the husband. And she would just bust a laughing. I'm like, what's funny? Because when you are the leader, that's the boss attitude. The boss wants everybody to know he is the boss, and that's a really hypocrite, you know. And the leader is the one who really humble himself and acknowledge everyone else's strength in the house. Without my children, I am not a father. Just to start off, besides the role that I can have outside, my household, like in my community, in my church. But in my house, without these children, I am not a father. And to be a great mentor to any child outside, if I have kids in my house, I have to be already a great leader, a great father to them. So these are my two nuggets. First nuggets is get you an accountability friend to always hold you accountable when you do stuff, whether they're right or wrong. And secondly, get you a mentor who's going to help you grow into the leader you're supposed to be for your household.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. You want to get yourself a mentor, get yourself an accountability partner. Man, fathers, when you constantly make these huge mistakes, this is some of the things you want to do. And this is important. So, this is why we are here today and we are talking on the topic biggest mistakes fathers make. And you are hearing some of the ways in which you can solve or deal with some of these mistakes that we make as fathers. So, this evening, today we have Will Manime with us. We also have Pastor Paul Scavella who is with us. And we're talking about biggest mistakes fathers make. If this is your first time watching us, and if you haven't subscribed to our Unique Couples YouTube channel, you want to go ahead and subscribe to our channel. You want to make sure you click all with, so you can be notified every time Unique Couples go live. So you want to make sure subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel. So we are just about getting ready to conclude, and we want to end with Pastor Paul. What advice would you give to deadbeat dads who may or may not be considering getting involved in their children's lives?
Well, uh, deadbeat dads are deadbeat because I think they don't understand the importance and significance of themselves to their children.
Hmm.
They don't value themselves. Therefore, they cannot value the relationship. And therefore, again, it's important for them to have somewhere along the line an awakening to the value that God has placed upon them, the calling that God has placed upon their lives, and the role that they have been called to fulfill in the lives of these children. Now, society tries to do it through legislation. Mothers try to get the courts to help some of these deadbeat dads to get involved financially in their lives and all the rest of it. But in truth and in fact, until the Holy Spirit takes a charge of these deadbeat fathers and they're able to see themselves uh, in the light that God has created them, and they value themselves, then they're not going to value anybody else, because I'm going to relate to you based on what I think about myself. If I think less of myself than I should be thinking, then I'm not going to value you if I don't value me. And so it's important for us to say to our fathers today, listen, you are important. They need to hear that. You are important. You are valuable, and not just to yourself, but to the children that God has placed in your life. The children need you to be effective in their lives. Therefore, you need to take stock of yourself. And we have to do that by, first of all, maybe listening to these deadbeat dads and hearing what they have to say, and then encouraging them in the right way that they should go. And this is going to probably take, a lot of encouragement,
Yeah.
depending where these deadbeat dads are. But today, I think the first thing that we can do is say, listen, God created you in His image. He loves you, and He wants you to love your children. Can we help you? Can we encourage you? And some of them need encouragement and need help and someone to really push them in the way that they should go. So besides that, there's nothing too hard that they cannot accomplish. If other, they need to hear that if they would only give themselves a chance, that whatever God can get, the little He can get from them, He can take that little and use it and turn it into much. And so, if they can hear these positive messages, and maybe a spark can be generated and created in their hearts and their lives, to move them from deadbeat to beat, and then to being what God would have them to be as fathers. All of us have room to grow, including the deadbeats.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Paul. Well, what advice would you give to deadbeat dads who may or may not be considering getting involved in their children's life?
Hmm. I'm thinking about, I'm thinking about a deadbeat that asking himself why. Why? Because there's always a reason why. There's a reason why and I say that because my dad was one of them. He was one of them. And his reason, and I won't call it an excuse, but his reason is because my mom left. She left because of all the abuse, but he didn't want to look at what surrounded my mom to influence her to make that decision to walk outside, out of the marriage with her two children. And that's the reason why he decided to just stay away from us. Didn't want to have any part of our upbringing. That was the reason why. So I would tell her dad today, why? Ask yourself this question. Why is it that I want to do right, but I can't do right? Or why do I feel this type of way when it comes down to my child or my children? Why? Because the real assessment comes from answering those difficult questions. So once you found that the reason, now it's easy to work on resolving the issue within you. Because I'd rather have a child growing without a biological father and raised by a stepdad, or even just look up to another man who present himself being that right person that the child can copy, to grow, than having this dad in their life. Because if I have issue, whatever is in me, that's what I'm gonna give to the children. So the first step would be to acknowledge the issue within themselves. So ask yourself why, and then the other advice: seek help. Once you found that there's something within you, there's something wrong, seek help. And that help, like I say, can come from somebody you really trust, who can become a mentor. It doesn't matter how old is the person. If that person is being a father for quite some times now and has been doing great with his children, you want to go to them and let them help you explain how you feel, and let them with you find a solution to that, to resolve that matter. And also see God. Seek God. Seek God, because only God can really take you from a place of failing, to a place of growing. And that's what deadbeat dad need in their life. They need to grow, because the word says, don't be conformed to the to this era of life you live in, these things that you're seeing. You hear people's stories. Don't be conformed to that, but be transformed by the renewing of your mindset. So you need to grow mentally. Once you realize the three steps is simple, once you ask yourself the question why, you will have the answer to your why. Once you got that, go find somebody who's already walked the walk to help you navigate through. And then after that, allow to grow. Once the person help you gather all the informations, now you need to grow. Grow is changing all the data that are in your mind. They are not good. Somebody told me anything that you can learn can be unlearned. And once they are unlearned, you need to replace them with some new informations. So grow mentally will be the third steps. The third step.
All right. Thank you. Well, thank you, Pastor Paul, for those tips on some of the things that deadbeat dads can do so they can make sure that they are involved in their children's life, because it's very important for a child to be involved. It's very important for fathers to be involved in their children's life, because a young boy who's growing up, when his father is there, he can see exactly what he needs to do when he becomes a father, when he is getting ready to get married, because he will see how his father is treating his wife. So, fathers, you play a very crucial role in your children's life. Also, a young girl, when she is growing up and she looks at her father, she will see how her father treats her mom, so she can know how a man should treat her. So, fathers, you play many roles in your children's life. You play many roles in your family's life. That's very, very important. So, fathers, you have a lot of responsibilities, and you have to acknowledge them, and you make sure you have to be there for your kids. We know that this month, the month of June, we are we have been dubbing this month as Men's Month. We know that today is Father's Day. Father's Day is celebrated all over the world, and fathers are being recognized. And we want to make sure that fathers, you can be a great father. We want you to be a great father. Yes, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. So that's why today we are here talking on biggest mistakes fathers make. And we talked about some of the mistakes. We weren't able to talk about all of the mistakes, but we talked about some of them. And we got some good nuggets here from Pastor Paul and from William Manime. They did an excellent job on giving us some great nuggets in terms of what fathers need to do to avoid making some of these big mistakes. So, as we are wrapping up, we're going to start with Will. Will, do you have any final thoughts on the biggest mistakes fathers make? And tell our viewing audience how they can find you on social media.
Final thought is, man, don't be stubborn. Be humble. Okay. No one master
Well,
crit. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
okay, Pastor Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Pastor,
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing William. I'm not hearing.
Yeah, I think we lost Vito.
Go ahead until he gets back on.
Yeah, so yeah, I was saying this, fathers, do not be stubborn. Be humble. Um it's really it's really that simple, you know. Don't be stubborn, be humble, because we already know it's pride. And let's just be honest to know that no one master the key to success with children. Nobody was born with the blueprint on how to raise children, how to be a great father. We have to learn it from different people. We have Pastor Paul, who's been married for quite some times now, and I believe has an amazing pedigree when it comes to fatherhood. So these are men that you know, these are men you can go to get some knowledge. Now, Pastor Paul, me, Vito, and some other, there's many people, and you can get from different people, and how can you guys find me on social media? We practically on all kind of platforms, and the email we respond to is will and nikia manime at gmail.com. Will and nikia manime at gmail.com. And you can find us on social media on Facebook and Instagram through Will and Nikia, one word, Will and Nikia Manime, Facebook and Instagram.
Great. And for me, um, when we think about final thoughts in regards to mistakes, no man that is born in this sinful environment is without mistakes. And one of the greatest assets that we have is the capacity to be humble enough to acknowledge that we have made a mistake, and then to not stay in the mistake, but to find ways and to find people who can help us to grow out of that mistake, and to develop in such a way that we could look back and we could say, you know, I remember when I acted this way with my child, and thank God he has given me the capacity to act in a new and more effective way. And so we don't need to be we don't need to beat up ourselves over our mistakes, but rather learn from them and grow from them. And you'll be surprised that when we are able to say sorry to our children, daddy didn't do it right, and we're going to do it differently, how much those children will respect us and be able to grow with us in the process of fatherhood and leadership to these gifts that God has given to us. People can find me on my website, www.blossomingplace.com, and also on Facebook, either at Paul Scavella or the Blossoming Place, or on Twitter, Blossoming Place, Instagram, we're all there. Um, you can email us at theblossomingplace@gmail.com, theblossomingplace@gmail.com, or paul.a.scavella@gmail.com. And we're here to help you to blossom. Remember, your growth continues now.
All right. Thank you very much, Will and Pastor Paul. There you have it, folks. They told you where you can find them. They also gave tips on what you can do in terms of becoming a better father, because all of us make mistakes. None of us are perfect, but there are things that you can do to becoming a greater father. Yes, we want to thank Will and Pastor Paul for being with us today here on Unique Couples, where they shared with us on the topic biggest mistakes fathers make. So just before we end, I just want to remind those who are viewing for the first time, you want to go ahead and subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed as yet, turn on that notification bell, and you want to make sure to select all so you can be notified every time Unique Couples go live. And then earlier, I talked about our Unique Couples Marriage Club. You want to go ahead and click on the description. Click on the link for the Marriage Club. It's in the description. You want to get more information on how you can be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We're teaching you how you can get a spouseology degree, where you'll be learning more about your spouse, studying your spouse. So you want to be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Then you also want to be a part of the How to Strengthen Your Marriage. It's our Facebook private group. It's for married couples only. So you want to join that group, How to Strengthen Your Marriage. It's a Facebook private group. For those that are single, those that are dating and engaged, we haven't left you out either. We have How to Strengthen Your Relationship. That is also a Facebook private group. So for those that are single, dating, engaged, you want to check out the How to Strengthen Your Relationship. That's our Facebook private group. And then for couples, we have our Love Leave Clues virtual treasure hunt. That link is also in the description. You want to go ahead and check out that link. So for couples, this is a virtual treasure hunt. So this can be done anywhere in the world. You want to click on that link so you can find out and get more information on the Love Leave Clues virtual treasure hunt, where you and your spouse, you guys can spend quality time together, having fun, doing things together, activities together. So that's the Love Leave Clues virtual treasure hunt. So you want to go ahead and check it out. So we had fun with you this evening on the topic, biggest mistakes fathers make. We had fun sharing with you this evening. So just a few reminders and announcements for this week. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have Sip and Spill in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group. So you want to be there tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Sip and Spill. And then you want to be there for 8 p.m. tomorrow night in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. So for those who are in the Unique Couples Marriage Club, you want to join us tomorrow, 8 p.m. And then on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Unique Couples After Dark. Unique Couples After Dark on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you want to join us this week for these events. And then next week, Sunday, we'll be right back here, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Once again, I want to thank Pastor Paul for being with us this evening. We had a great time talking on the topic, biggest mistakes fathers make. Here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. We had a great time with you. We love you all. See you all later this week. Talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
Great. Good to meet you.
It's a pleasure, Pastor Paul.
Yes, great.
Pleasure.
One of these days we'll hook up in Texas.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, that would be great.
Or Grand Bahama.
Why not? Oh, Bahamas, yeah. Most definitely. We need to go there. Yeah, we will be there. And whenever we visit Kingston, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Vito.
Hold on, Pastor Paul and Will.